Yo, Gemman from Gemman Collectibles. We covered this CGC stuff, and they literally responded as we were editing the video. As we expected to happen. Guys, it takes us a while to put these videos together, which is why we don't do breaking news per se.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but we record these videos on Tuesdays and they don't come out till Saturdays, so we don't really address breaking news like that. But I did like CGC's response, taking responsibility, taking accountability, doing what they can to make it right and prevent it from happening in the future.
I love seeing that they're actually going to be compensating those victims who are impacted by this particular scam. I want to know the community's thoughts about their response in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button. We're starting out 2024 right, with the hottest comic books in the world to discuss, and Gem Mint will lead it with number 10.
And it's a book that we've never seen on the Hot 10 before. Uncanny X-Men issue 139. Not only is it the debut of the brown suit Wolverine, one of my favorites, but it's where Kitty Pryde actually joins the X-Men.
Between 9.2 and 9.6, this book is up when you compare it to the recent 12-month average. The 9.8 sold for $525, which is up 12%, but is down from its heights of $900 that was set back in 2021. This is a great underrated key. Kitty Pryde key, yes, but a minor Wolverine key that I think has made this book go undervalued for far too long.
It looks like collectors may be gearing up for the MCU version of the X-Men. Who's going to join the team? Kitty Pryde is a safe bet, and if you want her first appearance, check out Uncanny X-Men issue 129. Moving on to number 9 on the list. Speaking of X-Men, we have X-Men 94, the second appearance of the new X-Men team.
People are clearly holding on to this key book and they're not selling it. Between 2010 and 2022, this book on average would sell at least 2 to 4 times a year at a 9.8, sometimes more than that, but never really less. Until this year, there's only one recorded sale. The heights this book reached was $72,000 back in 2021. The single sale that occurred this year sold for the 12-month average of $46,800, a steep drop on a book that is incredibly low on availability in high grade.
I remember when that 72 grand sale happened, and selling for almost half now, just another sign of the times. This week's sales, we see a 3.5 selling for $329 for a 12% increase over its 12-month average. The 4.0, 15% up, and then the 5.5 and 7.5, both 2% up, selling for $477 and $740 respectively.
We have an update on X-Men 97, supposed names that are attached to these episodes. The titles have been revealed, possibly. Let's take a look at them. The first, To Me, My X-Men. The second, Mutant Liberation Begins. The third, Fire Made Flash. The fourth, Montendo. What the heck is Montendo, Jim?
I mean, I know X-Men for Super Nintendo, but that's about it. The next episodes are Remember It, Bright Eyes, Shine with Strength Reborn, and the 3-episode arc, Tolerance is Extinction. So not really giving us any hints with these titles.
If this list is even correct, it still gets me excited. Next on the list at number 8 is a book that is so tough and high grade that it's hot this week. Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 28. This is when Peter Parker graduates high school, but it's also the first appearance of Molten Man on a horrendously difficult to acquire and high grade black cover.
It's almost like this book was released as a distressed cover. I've never seen one that wasn't riddled with spine ticks. No news on Molten Man, so like you said, it must just be collectors going for those Silver Age Spidey keys.
The 4.5 and 5.5 are both up more than 10% when you compare it to the recent 12-month average. The 7.5 is selling for $815, an increase of 7%. And look at this jump between 7.5 and 8.5. We're going from $815 on one end to $3,200 on the other end for an increase of 44%. This book is so tough and high grade.
So tough and high grade that there isn't even a 9.8 on the census. The highest is a 9.6, and the last time it sold, it set a record back in 2021 where it sold for $42,000. Now, Tom, do you think if another 9.6 came to market today that it would sell for about half, or would it meet or exceed that record?
This is a situation where market conditions don't matter. There are enough Spidey collectors that would look at this as a potential once-in-a-lifetime type of purchase that I would expect a 9.6 to maintain value at the worst.
Sticking with Silver Age Spider-Man, number 7 on the list, we have Amazing Spider-Man issue 50, Spider-Man No More, and the first appearance of the Kingpin.
The Echo series that's coming out this week is mature. It looks more like what we got with the Netflix era, which, by the way, will feature multiple characters from said era that we all have been missing and really needing to happen over on Disney+. It looks hyper-violent, those who have reviewed the first few episodes in the last few weeks are all raving about this series, saying that it's not just refreshing, it's gritty, and it's surprising how dark the Marvel execs let it get. And then you have the Kingpin, which is why we're talking about Wilson Fisk today.
We got a 1.0 selling for $330, a 4.5 selling for $700. The 6.0 is up 5%, selling for $1,235, and the 6.5 is maintaining that average, selling for $1,460.
Join our newsletter and enter to win this comic book. It's that easy, comictom101.com. And next on the list is Iron Fist number 14 at number 6. The first appearance of Sabretooth, who's going to be decapitated in Deadpool 3. What's up?
Yeah, we talked about X-Men 97. We talked about X-Men in the MCU, and it looks like we might get the Fox version of Sabretooth beheaded in Deadpool 3. We got a 4.0 selling for $228, up 4% from its 12-month average. The 6.5 up 16%. The 9.0 is up 2%, and the 9.8 just sold, selling for $4,950, an increase of 5%.
The 9.8 census count has been trickling up on books from this era and newer quite substantially. I mean, since the last time we chatted about this a couple weeks ago, there have been 3 more 9.8s added to the census. Despite this news, the book is down about $1,000 from its all-time height. It shows how beloved this key comic is, despite there being a, kind of spoiled speculation at this point. We know we're going to get Sabretooth in the future. It's just when?
Well, we know we're going to see Sabretooth next week in the upcoming Sabretooth War, starting in Wolverine issue 41 and ending in issue 50, and it's touted to be the most violent Wolverine comic book ever.
This is one of the most important modern keys, and it's at the list at number 5 because it's selling well, because it's getting too cheap. Batman Adventures 12, the first appearance of Harley Quinn. We got photos of Lady Gaga's portrayal of the character that we expect to see in Joker 2, the only DC project happening in 2024.
Director Todd Phillips did bless us with some Christmas presents of some on-set photos from the movie. The first one was Arthur Fleck in his cell at Arkham. The second one was showing Lady Gaga falling in love with the Joker. This book doesn't have much hype surrounding it, and I don't know why. The first one was both a commercial and critical success, grossing over $1 billion. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
The 7.0 is up 5%, the 9.2 is up 13%, and the 9.6 just sold for $1,000 for an increase of 4%. The 9.8 12-month average on this book was $2,600, and that still seemed low. Like, this is a $2,800, $3,000 9.8 book. This is a kid's comic book, and the last recorded sale in December for a 9.8 hit $2,150. Why would that be the case? Well, it's probably because since September, there's been an increase of 9.8s on the census of 39 copies. This is a temporary situation, in my opinion, regarding this book. It is getting at a point where I say bye, knowing we're not going to get any more Harley Quinn hype beyond this movie that isn't really adjusting prices too much as is. Wait for James Gunn to do anything with Harley Quinn and watch this book go right back up. It hit heights of $4,500 in 2021.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's got a lot of room to grow, and when the economy gets back together and James Gunn unveils his DC universe, it might be too late to get it at this price. Moving on to number 4, we're back to Amazing Spider-Man with issue 121, The Death of Gwen Stacy.
What is going on in Spidey that would make a 121 number 4 on our list this week? Just a lot of sales, and I love seeing this. Spidey collectors and comic collectors want this book because it's affordable. It's not taking theatrical releases, video games to put this book on our list. The 4.5 is up 17%. The 5.0 is up 38%. The 8.0 is up 4%. The 8.5 up 6%.
And then we see a nice jump when we get to the 9.2s, selling for $1,020, 8% higher than its 12-month average, and the 9.4 selling for $1,424, 6% up.
Yes, we've seen Emma Stone's spec circulate about her portrayal in live action of Spider-Gwen, and we will see Gwen Stacy again in theaters eventually. I think that none of this is impacting this book. Right now, people are seeing prices. It's the start of the year by the time you're watching this video, but these sales took place at the end of 2023. This book is hot, and it's perpetually relevant.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the Gwen Stacy spec has anything to do with what's going on in outside media, but number 3 on the list definitely does. We've got Omega Men 3, again, the first appearance of Lobo.
The 8.0 is up 10%, 9.0, 8%. You can get a 9.2 for $100, and that's 3% above.
The 9.6 is up 6%, and the 9.8 just sold for $378, 10% above its 12-month.
It's been about a year since the Lobo spec really started taking off, and this book has been hovering between the $300 and $400 marker, sometimes creeping a little bit above, sometimes below, over the last 12 months. This book, despite all of that, is still maintaining while the census count on 9.8s go up, and up. It keeps climbing. We talked about this book 2 weeks ago. Since then, there's been 9 new 9.8s added to the census.
Recently, James Gunn was asked how production on the Superman Legacy movie is coming along, and this is what he had to say. It's going swimmingly. Sets being built, costumes being finished, actors studying roles, prosthetics and VFX models being made, flights booked. Here we go.
He confirmed that 90% of the casting has been announced, so we're waiting on the last 10. Is it going to be Jason Momoa? Is it going to be Lobo? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And while you're going down there, click on the link, go to comictown101.com, join the January mystery mail call. We have a Jean Jang Spider-Gwen Smash #1 going out 1 per box, as well as a Batman 121 first appearance of Mr. Freeze, done impeccably by Raph Grissetti. Trade dress variants, guaranteed 1 per box. You support the show into the new year for $34.99. Link in the description. Jem, hit him with #2. I'm so shocked to see this book here.
I am so sick of this book, man, and it was one of my favorite all-time covers, but I feel like I can't stand looking at it anymore. Wolverine, issue #1, Frank Miller miniseries, you know what it is.
Is it really starting to turn you off, Jem?
I'm so tired of seeing this book on this Hot 10 every single week.
Someone overpaid like crazy for this comic book.
No, seriously, we talked about this last week. When we have these outlier sales, you got to put a little bit of an asterisk next to it. I don't know if this was a real 9.8, and I don't know if this was a real sale.
So true. What world are we in right now? No shots. Damn it. All right. 8.5 is up 8%. The 9.2 is up 6%. The 9.4 is up 6%. The 9.6 you can get for $307, up 16%. All right. Take a look at this. The 9.8s have been selling around $600 to $700 all year. The average is $676. There was a sale for $685, over the week that we tracked these numbers. And then another sale for $900. What the hell?
Yeah, this could have been an immaculate copy with a beautiful wrap, sharp corners. It could have been an uninformed customer who doesn't subscribe to Key Collector and doesn't watch these videos, or it could have been shill bidding. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Speaking of Key Collector, the best app of all time, so you can learn about funny books and keep up with us. Use code TOM101. You support the show, but you get access to a wealth of comic book knowledge. You can catalog your comic books, get suggested pricing on not just single books, but your entire collection and so much more. You even get access to the Hot 10 before we hit the mic. This book, I'm going to call it between a $650, $750 book. If it looks really nice, $800. Don't pay $900 right now. Not with that census count going to the moon.
And you guys know why the book is on the list. For whatever reason, collectors and the market have decided that this was the key issue to represent Deadpool 3. New Mutants 98 is not on this list, and neither is Dazzler.
Ooh, what does that mean for the #1 hottest book in the world? Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. We're here every single week covering the health of the comic book marketplace, and at the list at #1 from 1977, courtesy of, I think, the best not just foreign film, but movie of 2023. We have Godzilla #1, courtesy of Godzilla -1.
Not the first appearance of Godzilla in comics, but it is the first comic book of Godzilla published for the US market, and it's on fire, pun intended. The 6.0 is up 15%, the 9.0 is up 40%, the 9.2 sold for $171, putting it 45% above its 12-month average, and then we have a slew of sales in 9.4.
4 different copies outsold the 12-month average, the highest being for $200 for an increase of 44%. The 9.6 did the same. 4 copies outsold the 12-month average, the highest being for $250. That right there is an increase of 37%. The 9.8 hit $422 for an increase of 2%. I saw the movie again this past weekend. No joke, because they're pulling it from theaters. But it's cool to know that they're going to be re-releasing the film, at least in the foreign market first, in black and white to give it that classic feel. I hope they bring that over to the US market, because I'll go to the theater a 3rd time.
And not that it's a high dollar amount, but we do have a record-breaking sale in one of the lower grades, which just goes to show you how much interest there is in this book. A 4.0 sold for $50 back in March, and now it's sold for $58, an increase of 16%.
We appreciate your time today, comic fam. Happy New Year, and as always,
Geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
enough said.